It's not a webinar, it's a wake up, it's a conversation. I'm not going to be speaking at you. I actually want to speak with you. So if you want to put your hand up, if you want to say something, like actually treat this as a conversation, not just someone speaking at you. Please, 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 please. I'm going to start off with a quote. And I know that you'll bear with me. Because it just sets the tone for everything that I want to share with you today. I wish there were just more conversations that were super honest, super frank, super real, super to the point. And this can be one of them. So I want to start off with this quote because it totally sets the tone. Okay, this is a quote by Howard Thurman. It's one of my favorites. It says, "Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go do that." Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. I'm going to read it again because I actually want it to hit you. I want you to properly hear it. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Now, probably most of you in here are entrepreneurs running a business. This is the opposite to what we're told all the time. I know this. I ran a marketing agency for over 10 years. It's always about, what do people need? What do people need? This is don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go and do that. Because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. So everything we're going to be speaking today is within this context of what is going to bring you alive, what is going to bring you into your fullest expansion. What are the things that are getting in the way? And those are easy, by the way, to identify. What are the things that are getting in the way? And then how can you really start taking steps to, oh my gosh, this is what makes me really, really come alive. So I'm going to start off by, I'm going to share some of my greatest insights, most of which have been just massive kicks to my ego over the past year. But often this is how we grow, when our ego gets flushed down the toilet. Because there's so much, actually all of life exists beyond our ego. Right? The ego is the part of us that wants to keep us safe, that wants to keep us small, that wants to keep us contained, that wants to keep us liked, that wants to keep us stuck. Everything exists beyond that. All fulfillment, all joy, all possibility, all love, all expansion. It doesn't exist in the ego because that's not the ego's job. So I'm going to share some of those, but I want to start off by telling you a story. Because obviously this is a journey that I've been through, and kind of middle of 2023. So this is just like a year and a half ago. My coaching career is going really well. And you know, probably if you know me, you know that I have a good coaching career, right? Coaching career is going really well. I had a great coach, paying him lots of money, but it was worth every penny because he was really challenging me. And everything was really, really good. I'm hitting all my goals, blah, 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 moving forward. But something felt off. Something didn't feel right. And ultimately, I didn't know I did know what that was. I wasn't really connected to who I am at the end of the day. And for about 6 months of that year, towards like the latter half of the year, I had this voice in my head telling me to do daily calls. And that was it, right? Like that was the extent to this voice saying, do daily calls. And I remember even speaking to my coach about it. And I was like, I just, got this feeling like I just want to do daily calls, but I don't know what they're about. And I don't know why I'm doing them. I just don't know anything. And that was kind of like, don't do that because you're doing really well with all this other stuff. And eventually, towards the end of the year, 2024, I finally kind of had this reckoning with myself. And I said, do I want to keep ignoring this voice and I'm going to get the same results that I'm getting now, which are okay, right? They're okay, but I don't feel fully alive. And I'm like, I'm not here. I didn't come to this planet just to collect accolades and a pile of things. I came to this planet for something much greater than that, for like so much more fulfillment and joy and expansion. And I asked myself, do you want to keep ignoring this voice? Is that the person who you want to be, the kind of person that ignores it? Or do you want to be the kind of person who takes a leap of faith? And I finally decided in that moment to just effing do these calls. I didn't even know what they were going to be about. And the reason I wasn't doing them, the reason I didn't listen is two reasons. One, I didn't know what they were going to be about, and my ego absolutely hated that. How can you do calls if you don't know what they're going to be about? And then number two, I was like, well, what if no one comes? And it's like, no one's going to come to a bunch of calls that you don't even know what they're going to be about. But what I realized myself was it actually wasn't about anyone else. I needed to go. I need to actually listen to myself. And what I realized and what I said to myself was, even if you're the only person that goes, that will be one person's life that changes. So that is why this was right at the end of December 2023. And I sent a message to all of my one-to-one clients and I said, look, from the 3rd of January, I'm going to be doing calls every single day at 6 a.m. I don't know what they're going to be about. I don't even know, I don't know. I can't give you any more information, but here's the link if you want to come. And to my surprise, they actually did come. But what happened, first of all, there was such a transformation in me because I was actually taking a total leap into the unknown. More than that, I was actually listening to myself. I was listening to something within me. And what happened in that month was, well, one of the things that I realized is that I don't have to know, because as soon as I opened up Zoom on the very first morning, just words tumbled out of my mouth. And that month ended up being one of the most transformational months in my entire life. It was like years of personal growth in a matter of a few weeks. And it wasn't just for me, like everyone who came to those calls, and Debbie did, and she's here, and I'm going to bring her on later because I want to show you what she's created. Everyone experienced these rapid, like beautiful transformations. And it took me so long to even figure out what the hell were those calls even about. Like it felt like something so great was happening, but even still it was beyond me. Like the transformation was even beyond what my mind could kind of keep up with. But the first point that I really want to ask you is, like, what is the thing that you know you're here to do that you're not listening to? What is the thing that you have, like, you may not even know how the hell you're going to get there or what even the hell it is, but you know that there's something that you're not listening to. What is that for you? Because sometimes people say, oh no, there's nothing, there's nothing. And I call bullshit on that. I think everyone has that thing. You've got something. And if you want to put it in the chat, please put it in the chat. And if you want to even share it, please share it. Because I know there's miracle workers in this room already. I know that Ash wrote a book last year because she finally listened. I'm going to tell you about Debbie soon as well. But what is that thing that you know you're here for more and you're not allowing yourself to go there? Because there's a thing. Okay, so had this absolutely incredible, transformative month. It was absolutely amazing. Everyone was like doing incredible things. And what I realized we were doing in that month is we weren't sitting down, we weren't writing our goals out every day. What we were doing was reconnecting to the very deepest part of who we are every single day, over and over and over. And I remember when I spoke with my coach about it, and he said, like, oh my God, these results are amazing, blah, blah, blah. Like, you need to go out there and sell this now. I remember feeling like I'm still not caught up with what is happening. I can't go out there and sell it. And I did try, mostly because he told me to, and it was awful and it felt really clunky. But I needed some time to figure out, because what was happening is I was connecting to the deepest part of who I was in these calls every single day, over and over and over. And then a few months went by and not a lot else happened. And then one day, I think in about March or April, I got really sick. My husband was away, as is always the case when we have hideous sickness in our house. Both my kids got norovirus. I got norovirus. It was the worst norovirus I've ever had. And I was literally vomiting for about 36 hours straight, just nonstop. And there was one point at which I could do absolutely nothing. Thankfully, my parents came over and fed my children so that they were not feral and fending for themselves. But my parents came over, but I could do nothing. I was in the most surrendered state in bed, couldn't even move. And I remember that was when I really started listening and watching videos and podcasts and this and that and the other of all of these people that I had been judging for so long. And I'll tell you who they were. They're all the people in the spiritual space, spiritual personal development space, that I had been judging for so long. Not because I love spirituality. That's what I actually wanted to do. But I was judging them all the time because my ego didn't want me to go there. It was too scary for me. But I sat down, I was watching on these videos. And then there was one point where I was literally on the toilet with my head in the sink. I couldn't even lift my head out of the sink because I had nothing left in me, no energy. And it just hit me like a bolt of lightning that I had been giving my power away most of my life, just handing it over on a plate to people, believing time after time after time that they knew better than I did. My coach must know better than I do. So therefore I was listening to him all the time. My husband, my parents, my mentor, all the time thinking that they knew better than I did. And what was happening that beginning of last year is I was connecting to a place within me that was so deep, so wise, so loving, so powerful, almost like all-knowing, right? God is infinite. That means there's nowhere that God isn't. But we often forget that means that God is within us, right? That this infinite power is within us. This all-knowingness is within us. And we forget that. So that hit me just like a bolt of lightning. And then I just probably went on a little bit of a rampage. And I just ended my contract with my coach. And I just, not because he wasn't a great person, he really wasn't. He did so much for me. But this is why I'm going to share that coaching is slow in many ways. Because most coaching, if you're a good coach, what you'll do is you'll challenge how people think, right? And that's what I was doing, challenging how people think. That's a good coach. That's good coaching. But when we're only challenging what's in the mind, we're failing to access anything beyond the mind. And it's almost like, this is what I really came to realize, that most personal development, most coaching leads us to being the best version of our limited self. And what I mean by that is it turns us into the best version of our ego self, the part of us that wants the bigger goals, the more money, to look good on stage, to speak in front of more people. And there's nothing wrong with any of those things, by the way, absolutely nothing wrong with it. But it is if it's coming from our ego, because what that means is we're always in lack, always. Because it's not our true essence. Like, your true essence is whole already. There's nothing missing. It's fully abundant. But when we're creating goals from our ego, it doesn't matter how good that goal is, we always feel like we're in lack. We're always chasing. We're always coming from a place of depletion. Where are we here? Like, is this landing for you? Ash, you said that you have so much to say and I want to hear it. This is, as Anne said, this is what I'm not listening to, making myself super visible through social media, being consistently on social media to build mega awareness of how I can help and serve others. I'm so scared to do it. I don't even want to share this here today. Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing this here today, Anne. That is awesome. But here goes. First step to being vulnerable. Right. Okay. I'm so glad that you said that, right? Because all of our power can only come from when we are vulnerable. Because the part of you that wants to keep yourself hidden is your ego, right? It's the part of you that wants to build barriers around you, barriers around your heart, barriers around barriers everywhere, so it can control. This is what people think of me, this is how much I'm liked, etc., right? In order to grow, really grow, we actually have to put our ego down. Our ego, if we're feeling vulnerable, it's our ego that actually feels vulnerable, not our true self. Our true self has no vulnerability. It's all powerful, all knowing. So I'm so glad that you said that, because actually, like, that's the only place where we can grow, is when we're willing to have our ego feel vulnerable. So if you're up for it, I want to do a little experiment, because I know I'm speaking in theory and I actually want you to experience it. I want you to experience what's available beyond your mind, beyond the ego, right? Are you up for an experiment? Might take like 5 minutes. Okay, let's do it. So what I want you to do just now is just think, I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to think of the first number that comes to your head and put it in the chat if you want. I want you to think of how much money you think you can make. Like, what's realistic for you? How much money can you make? And just like, how much money would you love to make that feels like really good for you? And put it in the chat. Don't overthink it. Just like what comes to you. And you can put it in the chat. You can think about it. Okay. And then we're going to experiment. Okay. So we've got like 3. There's no right or wrong answer here, by the way, guys. Like, lots of 300Ks, 2 million, 1 million, 300K. Like, I've got a number. 5 million by the time I'm 50, 5 digits at least monthly. Okay. All right. So we're going to go into experimentation mode now. Give me 1 moment, because I'm going to share my audio. My computer. Can you hear that music? Yeah. Okay. All right. So if you know me, you'll know that I'm a big fan of meditation. Lots of people find it very difficult to do at first. I'm no exception. So if you do find this a little bit difficult, just go with it as best you can, right? Just like surrender into it as best you can. I'm just gonna pull up a beautiful piece of music. Okay. And I'm gonna invite you into just a really short meditation, okay? So get comfy in your seat, cross your legs, do whatever you need to do. Get really comfy, and we're going to do a really short meditation. Okay, so just start off just by gently closing your eyes. And take a deep breath in. And take a deep breath out. And a deep breath in again. Holding at the top. And now take a beautiful deep breath out. And take a deep breath in again. And this time, as you hold at the top, just notice if your body is carrying tension anywhere, maybe in your neck or your stomach, maybe in your chest. And then take a deep breath out. And then just continue this pattern of breath. Deep breath in. Holding at the top. And a beautiful deep breath out. And just begin to notice how you begin to soften. You can notice how much sometimes you may resist just coming to a stop. But also notice how good it begins to feel. Now, often our bodies are waiting for us. They're waiting for a command to run, to fight, to freeze. They're often carrying this permanent state of tension. And I just want you, just for the next minute, just to give your body complete permission to just relax. Give it permission to actually do what it came here to do, which is not wait for something bad to happen, but to grow, to heal, to carry you places, to help you see, to help you speak, to feel. That's what your body is here for. Your body is here to serve your highest nature, your highest good, to serve your vision. So starting at the top of your head, just relax. Relax your forehead muscles. Relax your cheeks. Relax your mouth and your jaw. It's another place that holds on to so much tension for us, and just notice, give it permission to let go. I feel that relaxation going down your neck, loosening your throat, and relaxing your shoulders and your arms, letting them hang heavy. Trusting your body to do what it's here to do. Trusting your body that it knows what to do. Now bring that relaxation down into your heart space. See if you can give your heart permission just to soften up, to open that little bit more. Let your heart know that it's safe just to be. And breathing relaxation down into your stomach. Let your stomach muscles go. Let your sit bones relax and sit heavy in the chair. Relax your thighs, your knees, your shins, your feet. And feel your feet deeply connected, deeply held by the earth. Okay. Just notice how good it feels just to begin to come back to yourself, to shut the noise out. And I'm going to ask you a few questions and just see what answer comes to you silently in your head when you're in this deeply relaxed state. If you are unable to go into your memory bank, unable to retrieve any memories, who are you? And without the benefit of memory, where is it that you live? And without going to memory for an answer, what shape are you? And without the benefit of memory, what is it that you are here for? Without the benefit of memory, without going into your memory banks, what color are you? And now take a deep, beautiful breath in. Bring yourself back to your body, back to this present moment. And just begin to gradually, gently open your eyes. And just give yourself a moment. Now I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked you before. How much money is it possible for you to make? What's available to you? Put it in the chat. Okay. Do you see the difference? This is the difference between when we're creating in our mind, which is what we do most of the time, all day long, and what is available to us when we go beyond it. And what happened last January when I did these calls, I started doing these calls, was we did this every single day. It was not planned. I did not know that was going to happen. That every day some half an hour long meditation would come out of my mouth. First time I'd ever done meditations that long would come out of my mouth. And then we as a group would take a few 10 minutes to write down what was coming through us. And what happened every single time was we got the exact guidance we needed, the exact thing that we needed to hear to heal something, the exact next step that we needed to take over and over and over again every single day. And this is why 10 years worth of personal growth happened in 1 month, because this is the difference. And we have a choice every day that we can create from our mind. And this is what I want you to think. This is what the mind is. Your mind is basically a data bank. It's like a computer. It gathers all the information that's ever been inputted into it. Everything society said to you, everything that your parents said to you, everything that culture has said, all your experiences. And then what it does is you ask it a question and it will spit out an answer based on all that information within it. It will just spit out what it thinks is realistic for you, given that. When we go beyond the mind, we actually get access to reality. We get access to what's actually available to us. And when we begin to create our life from that place, this is when things start happening so much faster. And not only that, it feels so good, because we're not doing that thing that, I don't know, everyone else is telling us to do. We're doing that thing that we were brought here to do. And there's not a single person in this room who was brought here to do the same thing as someone else. You look in a garden, you don't get flowers that are exactly the same, even of the same species. They're different. They have a different function, a different fragrance, a different pollen. This is what we're here to do, is something very, very different. It's what you're here to do. It's what makes you come alive. And when you come alive, just like that quote says, the world doesn't need more people asking what other people need. The world needs more people who have come alive. To ask yourself what makes you come alive. Now, there's a few people here. So this group, basically, after this, I did a very small group in, when did I do it? June, for 3 months, where I thought, right, we're just going to do a week of these meditations. And I ended up doing three weeks. So I did a week every month. And then I didn't do anything else with it again until after, in September. I just had this new voice in my head that now said, right, you're going to do this. You're going to get up to 20 people together. It's called The Field. You're going to do, you're going to meet together every month for a whole year. And you're going to do these meditations for the first week of every single month. And just go do it. And that was as much information as I had. But I knew, having now listened and trusted what happened before, that I was just going to do it. And I was just going to walk into the unknown, knowing that whatever was going to happen would be so much greater than what my mind could ever come up with. And this was the difference for me. Coaching with my coach, who was so good. I mean, genuinely a great coach, but it was all coaching within my mind. And the difference is when we're coaching with our spirit, it's almost like our spirit is in the driver's seat, not our ego. So then our mind gets to be used for what our soul actually is here to do. That's when the expansion comes. And not only that, miracles, non-stop fecking miracles. If I could tell you the miracles, Todd, you could maybe tell some people about, like, just miracle upon miracle upon miracle. It's like synchronicities, non-stop, all the time, every day. And there's a few people who are in the field now, who are here today, who could just tell you the same thing. It's like, it's hilarious, like every single day, synchronicities like happening, because you're tuning into the reality of the universe, not your ego. And I know that might sound woo, but you just experienced it. Like, you just experienced what's available to you when you start creating beyond this data bank. The brain is amazing. The mind is an amazing tool, but most people don't know how to use it correctly. I certainly didn't. But now I'm like, oh, that's what it's for. That's what it's for. It's to serve this purpose. So I'm going to bring on Debbie, because Debbie is, I mean, just all of the people in the field are incredibly awesome, but I'm going to bring on Debbie because, like, Debbie's like had a very successful real estate career for so long. I'm sure she'll tell you the ups and downs. What's so interesting about Debbie is, Debbie's 70 now. She's always wanted to be an author. And in the last 3 months, she's written 3 books. They have flown out of her. And not only that, the first book that she's published is absolutely bloody brilliant. Like, go and buy it because it's so good. And you can go and do her course for free just from buying the book. It's called Your Inner Billionaire. Honestly, it's genuinely amazing. But I want Debbie to talk, like, I want Debbie to come on to show you, like, what that process is like for her when you start creating beyond this little limited thing up here. Go for it, Debbie. Basically, whenever Debbie speaks, like, nuclear bombs go off.
You're so funny. So I want to talk about the experience from last January 1st, because as Elisa said, it's like she just says, okay, well, I'm doing this. I don't know what I'm doing, but just please show up. And I will tell you that I also was a client of hers, and I agree completely about coaching. I've been a coach for a long time, and it's just, at some point, coaching is like therapy, literally. I mean, it's great if you're in a business and all of that, but when you want to get to a different level in life and connect with your soul, it really is something you have to enter the field. And she talks about it from the spiritual perspective. I always talk about it from the scientific, because it's the field, or the quantum field. It's just consciousness. But Elisa had recommended a book called The Surrender Experiment by Mickey Singer. So if you haven't read that, that's a great book. I'll plug my book in a minute. But the fact is that this gentleman just lived basically from the field his whole life. And I have had great moments of that, but this was just a coming home, if you will, showing up at Elisa's daily calls. And frankly, some of those calls were at midnight my time. And I told her, I said, I will do anything for things that are going to transform my life. And that truly did. So from that moment, I had decided last January 1st that I was going to just completely live from intuition. That was the whole thing based on that book. Then these calls show up. And the next thing you know, I am moving part-time to Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and thinking I was going to write a book, not knowing how it was going to transpire. But things started showing up in these mystical, magical ways. And I call myself the Queen of Magic because I've always lived under this magical cloud. And it's as if it just got turbocharged. And what I also note is that through every call and every person that's ever been on one of these miracles, they turn into little roomies, which I find fascinating, because it really truly is just connecting with that soul energy. And so when you talk about the mind, I always think in terms of these, because everybody should know about AI at this point. These are just AIs. That's all they are. We put data into them, and then we ask a question, and the best of its ability, it gives us an answer. And the truth is that the answer that we want is so much more expansive. Everybody put it in the chat, I want this much money. The first question. And the second question is, it's infinite. It's just infinite. And the truth of it is we all have that magic within us. It's just revealing it. So I'm going to just read a quick quote from my own book because I love this so much. Think of your inner billionaire like a diamond buried beneath layers of limiting beliefs, family patterns, and societal conditioning. The diamond isn't becoming a diamond, it already is one. It just needs to be excavated. Look at nature. Does the ocean worry about running out of waves? It's just revealing who you already are. And that's the beauty of this process that Elisa has called the field, is going into that. Meditation is, I can't say enough about it. It's helped me so much in my life, and it's taken me from this point of doing kind of miracle calls and doing a little meditation to surpassing that on levels that I really truly, I can't express how much meditation can change your life. But meditation is simply just going into the field. And when you allow yourself to be so connected to your authenticity, because that's truly what this is, it's just going so deep into your own soul, which is connected to everybody else's. And that's what I think is so incredible about quantum physics, because science has now proven basically what we're talking about, that it's a web, that every single one of us on this call, every single one of us on every call, every single one of us on the planet in the entire infinite universe is connected. We're all one and we're all connected. So if I have a thought and I'm creating it from a place of knowingness, it can't help, the universe can't help but conspire to create it. So when you come together with people in a group like this, it is just, I can't even tell you how much has transformed in my own life, but also living in this mystery. Because as Elisa said, she's basically just taking one step, one after another, not knowing what the, I like to swear, so I'll try not to do that, what the is happening, because you are allowing, as we all are, ourselves to be guided and directed by something other than this AI that we walk around with, and being pulled by the vision of who we are. My essence is to share wisdom. So I call that a teacher. That's just the energy that I put out into the world. When I follow that energy, my whole life feels magical. And when I don't follow it, then I get results that are, I want to resist. I cannot express enough how much this gift that Elisa has revealed of herself is going to transform lives in ways that she doesn't know, we don't know. And yet she's willing to take that risk of going forward without knowing, because that's truly where the true magic is. When you go forward and you don't know, but you just trust, mind blown. It's incredible. I had this great opportunity to spend half of the year, I was flying back and forth once a month to Playa del Carmen, paradise, wonderful, and live in North Texas. I mean, it's kind of crazy if you think about it. I just allowed these things to unfold. I got a message in January after doing the calls with Elisa. The ocean said, I'm here to wake up the feminine on the planet. I looked around and said, you must be talking to somebody else, because I don't know who that person is. I have always said I'm the best man for the job because I have a lot of masculine energy, which is thinking and analytics. The magic comes from the feminine energy that's in you, that allows you to be connected to your, what we call intuition. That's your deep seated knowingness of the direction of your life. And when you tap into that, you get downloads that you weren't probably expecting, because your analytical ego mind doesn't know how to come up with that. It's here, it's in your heart, it's in your body, it's in your soul. So I did write this book. I wrote 3 books, and I also healed a relationship with my mother, writing one of the books about her. But I can tell you that life is so fabulous when you follow your heart and your soul. There is nothing better than that. And believe me, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on coaching and mentors to do marketing, and I've taught marketing. And the fact is right now I just had this gal that I've hired to market for me for some of the things that I'm doing, the book, etc. And she says, "So what's your brand?" And I finally come to the conclusion, my brand is me, Debbie Dobbins. I don't even, it doesn't even need a moniker on it anymore because I am the brand. I am the authentic beingness of who I am. And what I have to say takes courage and power from my own being to be authentic about it. So I'm here to support Elisa in anything she does because she's listening to her soul. And if someone is listening to their soul, you know it. When you meet them, you want to be around them and experience what they have to offer. So that's why I'm here to just say how amazing being in the field is with Elisa, because she's really truly allowed other people to see and experience consciously what the field is. We're always in the field. We're always creating. We're creating our life, whether we think it or not. We're usually creating it unconsciously, but to be consciously creating from the field is, I can't even tell you how magical it is. So thanks, Elisa.
Thank you, Debbie Dobbins. That was so sweet of you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, my love. That's what I want to show you is available. And it's like, it's not just Debbie, right? It's just like everyone is miracle upon miracle upon miracle. Like, I can't tell you, I have been going around in circles. This is the truth. This is like what's behind what you see, right? The truth is I've been going around in circles for, I'm going to say years, actually, ever since I left my marketing business and I went into coaching. And it's always been like, oh, who do I serve? What is it that I want to do? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, there's a certain level of success that you can get with that. But real success actually comes from living, like Debbie said, so authentically and bringing what only you can bring to the table, even if you don't know what that is yet. Like, I don't even fully know what it is that I have to bring yet. I'm just taking step after step after step. And the truth is, I don't fully know because my ego is terrified of it. Like, my ego is like, no, 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 at least Tidswell, I want to stay small, stay little, stay in circles, keep going on the hamster wheel, go round and round and round. That's what it wants for me because that's what it's designed to do, right? Like, that's the evolutionary purpose of our ego, is to keep us not dead, alive. But that's okay if we only want to just survive through life. But do you want to survive, or do you actually really want to live? Do you want to feel like so whole, so connected, so moved on a daily basis? One of the most beautiful things for me actually last year, again, when I was coaching with my coach at the time, and I realized that one of the reasons why I loved the conversation so much is because I actually felt moved. And then I realized I'm not interested in chasing money. And it's okay if you do want to chase money, by the way. For me, money is more like a default of what happens when I'm in my truth, right? When I'm really living my purpose, the money is just there. Like, in fact, it's easy. It's easy. And like, even with the field, for example, like, it was like, okay, you're going to get like up to 19 people, blah, 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 up to 20 people, but do it with 3, because like my ego would be like, but what if only 3 people sign up? So it's like, no, 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 even if it's just 3 people, you're going to do it. So I'm like, okay, I surrender to that. I surrender my big fat ego that wants to be, that wants this and that and the other. And out of integrity, because I used to work with clients one-to-one every single week, out of integrity, I knew actually they were better off being in the field than they were coaching with me every week. So my one-to-one clients, I said, look, when you renew, you're not working with me every single week anymore. You work with me every other week at the most, but you come into the field. Because I knew that the field was the thing that was really going to move them forward. Whereas working with me one-to-one, okay, yes, that will give me a client for the next, paying me a lot of money for the next however long, but it's not in their best interest. So I actually took a pay cut in order to stay in my integrity. Also, the field is going to grow, but like that's the level of how this is, what's available to you, what is available to you beyond the hamster wheel. Really, this is a hamster wheel unless we're using it correctly. And you just saw earlier, like, first of all, your answer came from the hamster wheel about how much money that you could make. And then when you went beyond the hamster wheel, then you saw, oh my gosh, actually, no, infinite is available to me, infinite. What if you lived and operated from that place? What if you created your business from that place? What if you created your relationships from that place? How much richer, more loving, more expansive, more fulfilling could life be for you? Has anyone got anything that they want to share? Like I said to you at the very beginning, I don't want this to be me speaking at you. It's me speaking with you. So if you've got something to share, like, please just raise your hand and share. Otherwise, there are so many things that I could tell you about the last year, and all the kicks to my ego. I had a great one. I'll just tell you quickly. At Supercoach last year, this was brilliant for me, right? So at Supercoach last year, I had been asked to speak at Supercoach, this big Mind Valley event, right? It's a big deal in terms of a coaching career. I've been asked to speak. And so obviously I was very, very excited about that. And then just the week before, I thought, they've still not sent me like much information about this. So I contacted one of the organizers and she said, oh yeah, I'm really sorry, no one told you, we've cancelled all of the morning events. And I was honestly, for the first time in my life, I don't get mad. I was mad. Like, my ego was mad. And the whole day, and then what happened was the whole day, the voices started coming in about, oh my God, that means you're rubbish. Well, your coaching career's over now, isn't it? Just all of this stuff, right? Non-stop. And then I got back to my hotel room that night and I just started to write down, I opened my journal and I thought, right, what's the event? The event is the speaking gig got cancelled. What are the meanings that I'm making out of this? And then I wrote down all of the meanings and I was like, right, let's just stay with the event. It got cancelled. It was me that was putting all of these meanings onto it. But it was honestly recognizing that was so freeing, because I didn't realize until that point how attached my ego was to speaking on that stage. My ego thought that I had made it. And it was just like liberation after that point. That liberated me to be present, to enjoy the whole thing, to be there with other people, but but even beyond that, it liberated me from my ego. That's what my ego wanted. Like, my soul wants something else. Like, if I'm going to stand on a stage, I don't want to do it because my ego wants me to stand up there. If I'm going to stand on a stage, I want to do it because my soul is telling me to stand up there and tell people what it is that I think they need to hear, or that my soul thinks they need to hear, right? So if you okay, what I want to hear is, what are you taking away from today? What's landing with you? You can put it in the chat. I'll go for it, Carolina.
Hello. So generally, I would just say I'm never up for speaking. I'm never up for raising my hand. And for some time now, I am on the hamster wheel like a crazy. And it's just kind of like, after the meditation that we've done, I literally feel like a little bit thing in my heart just like popped, like a bubble, or I don't know how to say it, but I think it's so incredible to kind of hear it from you, from Debbie, like, you know, like honestly, listen to your heart. Go back to. I've started now because. So I joined Mind Valley platform, what was it, September, and I kind of like started 1 million courses, not finished none of them yet because there's too much kind of like coming in. And then there's like, I need to start really thinking what resonates with me inside. And it's just so great to hear it from people who lived through it. So thank you so much for that. It's been very inspiring. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Like massive, just like super glad that you put your hand up. I'm so glad that you took that step. So proud of you. Honestly, like it's the little things that we do that we think they're little, but they're not. They're massive. They can change everything for us. So I so appreciate that, Carolina. Thank you. Todd, go for it.
Oh, hello. I'm Todd. I know some of you actually. I have the joy of being in the field, and what I've learned is one is just like Elisa's saying, there's this deep intuition that just flows out, and you go, where did that come from? You know, or as Debbie said, it's like a bunch of roomies start writing poems to each other, and it's incredible. But what is awesome is like even when we do these miracles, I'm starting to learn like almost on a daily basis. I can just sit down, meditate, or if I get in my head and I get all freaked out or depressed or something, I can just meditate and all of a sudden, boom, there's this like this beauty that I just start writing. And then when I look at what I wrote, it was just like, oh, and there's so much wisdom, there's intuition, there's direction, and miracles do happen. Like things just start happening. There's these synchronicities, and it's beautiful. And so I just want to encourage to practice for everyone because it's a very cool thing.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you. Todd is like Todd has some stories, guys, about things that have shown up for him. And what Todd is referring to is after we like so every month at the first week of every month we meet every day for an hour and we have a long meditation and then everyone writes whatever is coming through them and then we share it, right? That in itself takes so much courage. Like you're like when people come in and they first start doing it, ego hates it, right? Because it's you're sharing your soul. But what happens is exactly what Debbie said, exactly what Todd said. There is a Rumi inside of you, right? You've heard of Rumi, the poet. It's like your soul's language is the most beautiful poetry. And that level of wisdom that Rumi had, it like is in you. It's in you. It's in everyone. It's like literally, it's a breath away. It's your eyes closing and you going into this other place to access it away. It's so close. It's like this ocean of wisdom and knowledge that is within you that's there. And I may just finish today actually just by reading you like one small thing from my book. This one was from a couple of weeks ago. I cried my eyeballs out after this because there's always been a part of me, I realized, that I have been trying to, what's the word? I'm going to say erase. It felt like trying to erase. And after we had up the meditation, I had this vision in my head of this big black abyss and my body as a 3-year-old just in this abyss, almost lifeless. And I realized in that moment that I had done that to her, right? I had done that to myself and forgotten her and pushed her away, and to the point where she was almost lifeless. Like it was so vivid, so visceral. And if you're up for it, I'll read to you what came out of me after that. I can't necessarily say that it's beautiful like Rumi, but this is what came out, and it said, it's safe, it's safe, it's so safe. And yet a part of me so distant, as if falling into an abyss, is in despair. I cannot and will not leave you. I love you. As though I climb into the abyss and swimming about, I find you barely breathing. I'm talking about my own tiny little me, lifeless version. Skin so soft, so purely innocent, and how I saw you as a monster. I'm sorry, I cry, and I hold you tight, and I give you my breath, and I pull you back into the light. And laying on the sandy shore, you splutter and choke. A color returns to your cheeks, and you sit up, deluded, scared. And I grab you and hold you and promise you that I will never let you go. It's you, little girl, who must learn to trust me, not the other way round. It's you whom I abandoned. I'm sorry, so greatly sorry. I will be there for you. I cannot let you go. I'm sorry. And you say, I forgive you. Your heart is so big that despite 1,000 times I have forsaken you, you are still untouched. How I misjudged you, got you so wrong. You are perfect. It is I who must learn from you. And I take your hand, humbled in your presence. It is you who must show me the way. This kind of level of healing, of guidance, of wisdom, of knowledge is within you all the time. It's always just there waiting to be accessed. So I'm going to leave you with that. We do have a new mastermind. I call it a mastermind because it's a nice small group of the field starting in the middle of March. So if any of you are interested in finding out more about it, you can let me know and we can set up in the conversation and I'll tell you about it. But in the meantime, I hope that this has woken something up within you, a part of you that, you know, it's so easy for us to put, you know, the most treasured parts of us, to stick them on a shelf. They're on a shelf somewhere in our soul, gathering dust, right? And it's up to us to go and take them off the shelf and dust them off and then go and put them in the most beautiful spot where everyone can see it. Like, that's what we're here for. So I really, really hope that it's woken something up within you today. Sending you so much love. Love all of you. Thank you for being here. Biggest love, biggest kisses. Thank you.